You're listening to the Modern Mom and Dad podcast, a modern take on marriage, relationships, parenting, life, and so much more. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Modern Mom and Dad podcast. My name is Caitlyn. I am one of your hosts.
And I'm Ty, the other host.
So let's just start with a quick recap of our week and what's been going on. There's a lot we can't talk about yet, or we just, I guess, don't want to talk about yet, but
yeah, with the IVF transfer and everything.
Yeah, we're going to kind of just skip over that for today, but we'll share all of the news in our next episode. Mm-hmm. So we'll make sure to give you guys like a full update on that. Anyways, what else has been going on this week?
That was the main thing, was the transfer last week and then the test.
Yeah, so this week we went for our blood work, but again, we're not going to talk about this today.
That's like the big thing that happened in our lives this week. But...
Yeah. Oh, and we're preparing for our new launch of our Lovable lotion.
Mm-hmm. That'll go live on Monday.
Yeah, that is going to be available when you guys are listening to this. So we have a brand new lotion that's coming to Lovable. Right now, we only have a shampoo and conditioner in 2 different scents available.
Strawberry and lavender. And this lotion's been a long process.
Yes, so we're very excited to launch. And then today, Ty got a haircut.
Yep,
and
finally.
Yeah, once again, I
get my haircut still short like I'm in the military, so
he does.
After like a week, it's like I need another haircut. So I try to get one every couple weeks, but...
But the story behind his haircut and why I'm sharing this is because every time he gets a haircut, I always fail to notice it, and I don't know why.
Well, I only give her crap because if she gets her haircut and I don't say anything, then she's like, "What? You don't like my hair?"
I do not say that.
Kind you have in the past.
No, I do not. The only reason I say that is because you always are like, "You didn't say anything about my hair today."
Well, I know, in kind of a sarcastic manner. I really don't care.
We're just like poking fun at each other. It's not like very serious, but I don't know why every time he gets his hair done, like, I feel so bad. Yeah. I never notice it.
And today, I like when I got home, because this was just a little bit ago, I got home, fresh haircut, fade, and I was like, in my mind, like, she didn't say anything right when I walked in, so I was like, I'll give her until we record the podcast. And then we went to the gym, and then we were driving home, and she said something. I was like, oh, you barely made it.
Yeah, I noticed when he was working out, I was like, oh yeah, his hair looks good. I need to tell him that. And then I didn't tell him until we got into the car. But every time, it's just one of those things that I always overlook, and I feel really bad about.
That's my love language. You need to compliment my hair.
Okay, well, we're going to find out today because that's actually what today's episode is about. One of our listeners actually gave us this idea to talk about our love languages and go into a little bit more.
And in our previous marriage, I remember doing it when we were going through like therapy and stuff and trying to figure out what makes each other tick and whatnot. And I think we figured out Caitlyn's, but I'll be honest, I don't really ever felt confident in mine. I feel like I was a hard cookie to crack on that.
I agree. So we're actually going to take the test together with Ty on today's episode because he has failed to take the test yet. I just kind of assumed you were going to take it prior, but he didn't. So
I thought we were doing it on, so yeah.
So I'm like, let's just do it on the podcast. But I actually retook my love language test because I feel like when we were doing the love language test back when we were in therapy, like 4 or 5 years ago.
And she hasn't told me what they are, but I'm going to guess
it was
here in a second.
But it was totally different, so I felt like I needed to retake it to see.
Oh, it's totally different. Oh, well, the test itself.
Well, who I was 5 years ago when we did this originally, and then who I am now. I'm a totally different person.
I would still guess that it is acts of service. Is that the one?
Actually, yes, you're correct.
Acts of service, 100% acts of service. Because I can always tell, like, anytime I help you with something or got out of my way to... I'm trying to think of an example, but I'm drawing a blank. But I know for sure that is at least one of yours.
Yeah, you're totally right. My love language is acts of service, 40% acts of service.
Hey.
Yeah, so you totally got that right. And let me just take a second to explain what the love languages are, because if you're listening to this and you have no idea what we're talking about, I should probably just like give an idea of what they are.
Yeah, and I kind of got ahead of myself on that.
That's okay. Yeah. That's all right. So I actually read the book back when we were going through our really like hard time in marriage. I tried to did we read parts together?
We did, yeah. A couple times. I don't think, I know you read it, but I don't think I ever ended up reading it.
I took notes. I literally read it and took notes in the book. But knowing your partner's love language allows you to meet their needs before they even express them. So you're less likely to have miscommunication issues if you know how to reach the other person on their level best. And that is straight from Google. So that is what the love language is. But there's 5 love languages. Acts of service is one, quality time is another, words of affirmation, physical touch, and receiving gifts.
So those are the only 5?
Those are the only 5, yeah. Okay. So in order to determine which love language is yours, you simply just take a test. And I took mine at, I think it's called 5lovelanguages.com. Let me just verify that.
See, I thought I remember there being more, but it's been
a
while.
No. Yeah, there's only 5. Yeah, 5lovelanguages.com is where I took my test. And yeah, it says that 40% of my love language is acts of service. And basically what that means is I find love when Ty helps me with things, when he takes things off my plate, when he surprisingly cleans the backyard, or things like that. Anything he can do to ease the burden of my responsibilities is an act of service, and that speaks volumes to me. So that is how I love and want to be loved.
Without taking the test, over the years, I've kind of learned that about you. That's a huge thing for you. Just even small things, it definitely helps me a lot knowing that, because I know that you can get overwhelmed with your work and stuff. There's a lot behind the scenes that people that are listening right now might not realize, and anything I can do, especially now that I quit my job, my primary job, my 9-to-5 job, where I have more time to help take things off your plate.
Yeah, and when you do that, it really does make a difference in my mood and my attitude.
The one that comes to mind for me, as an example, is when you're really busy, editing photos or video or whatever, or this podcast, and Scarlett's out of school, the other night we went on a walk or something, taking her to do something so you can have some peace and quiet time too.
Yeah, well, and
I mean, that would count as an act of service, right?
I think so, because you're recognizing what's going on with me and where I'm at and what I'm trying to do, and you're taking the initiative to take something off my plate. Because
when Scarlett's here, she's a mommy's girl right now.
Yeah.
And primarily she is, but she goes through phases. But when she's home, no matter what I do, she still always wants her mom. She'll always go to you.
Yeah, and I love that. I do love that.
Come to me if you need water or milk or whatever, or
Well, yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't change that for the world.
I
love
know,
that.
Yeah,
but
it's not a bad thing.
But I mean, realistically, I have to work to support our family. This is what we do. So I think Ty recognizes that, and Scarlett just needs to keep busy. And so you taking the initiative to take her to do something really helps the entire family.
Or just starting the bedtime routine while you're working, getting her in the bath.
Is this what my love language was back then when we did it the first time? Because I feel like it was quality time, which is actually my second ranked love language, by the way. But I feel like it was quality time.
Maybe that's flipped to some degree. I still feel like it's always been acts of service, maybe primarily, or just maybe by not quite of a margin.
Yeah, I feel like I switch back and forth between the two,
but quality time, I feel like right now, Scarlett's at school, if I'm let's go get lunch or something, that's really important to you.
It is, yeah. But let me just backtrack to the walk situation. When you took Scarlett on a walk the other night, you said, hey, let's go on a walk together. And I had to say no, because I knew I had so much to get done that day.
And that would have counted as quality time. That would have
counted as quality time, but I had to, I've learned to say no. There's been lots of times in my life where I didn't know how to say no. And I've had, this is totally off topic, but I feel like I've had to teach myself to recognize where I'm at, what's going on, and say no. But at the same time, sometimes it's best to step away and take a break. But I don't know.
That's very relevant to what we're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Especially those two.
Well, yeah, that's I guess what I was trying to say is that quality time, I feel like, is still really important to me, but I've learned to balance it a little bit better. When you take this test, it ranks them by like percentages. So acts of service was first, quality time was second, words of affirmation was third, physical touch was fourth, and receiving gifts was fifth, which I feel like is very accurate for me. So let's take your test.
Okay.
I feel like this will spark some good conversation along the way.
I feel like receiving gifts is less important to you now than it probably ever has been.
I agree.
We've kind of like
because
we kind of like came to like a conclusion. Like we still do stuff for each other, but like gifts aren't.
Well, if I want something, I just buy it.
Yeah,
I work for it and buy it.
Exactly. It's like
there's aren't as important.
Yeah, if you want something, then let's make sure we get what you want.
Well, I'm lucky enough to be in the line of work where if I really want something, I have the opportunity to work harder and earn the money to buy that gift or whatever
work
that
with
is.
a company with something you would like.
That's true. So, I mean, it's a major privilege, but yeah, I definitely, I don't think receiving gifts has ever really been high up on my love languages.
No, I agree. I just think it's definitely less important than it ever has been for you.
Okay, so we're starting the love language quiz for Ty. And hold on.
This is where I'm going to be very vulnerable.
I know. And before we even get started, like, just take a wild guess. What do you think you're going to be ranked first?
Physical touch.
I disagree.
I don't know. Words of affirmation?
I feel like you're going to be ranked to words of affirmation first. Because physical touch isn't just sex. Like, physical touch isn't just, like, a sexual touch. It's an intimate touch that's not necessarily sexual, and I feel like you actually you're not very affectionate, like, and that's not a bad thing, but you're not a very affectionate person, you know what I mean? And I don't think I am
It's
either.
hard for me to be touchy without it leading to it's almost impossible for me.
Exactly, like whenever you touch me, it's like my butt or something. I'm like, okay, we don't do a lot of touching.
In that aspect, it wouldn't be physical touch.
We do hold hands though.
Yeah.
Like when we go on walks, we do hold hands, but yeah, I don't know. It's just not our thing, I guess. Anyways, let's get started. Okay, so all of these questions ask you if it's more meaningful. So they're going to say it's more meaningful to me when, and then it's going to give you 2 prompts. So the first one says, I receive a loving note / text email for no special reason from my loved one, or it's more meaningful to me when my partner and I hug.
I would say the loving note, text, or email for no special reason.
I think I said the same.
All right, next one. My partner gives me a little gift as a token of our love for each other, or I get to spend uninterrupted leisure time with my partner. Gift. I'm going to go with gift.
Gift. I said the same because...
It's hard because, like...
Well, one time you brought me Muddy Buddies just for no reason, and that was... Like, I loved that.
Yeah.
I loved that.
I try to do stuff like that.
Yeah, you surprised me. That's like
but I can't do it every day because then you'll get spoiled.
Well, yeah.
And then you'll expect... No,
no, I wouldn't get spoiled.
No, I'm just kidding. I like doing that.
It wouldn't mean as much as if you did it every day.
Yeah. All right, so the next one is my partner unexpectedly does something for me, like filling my car or doing the laundry, or my partner and I touch. I know the first one would be Caitlyn.
Yes, I 100% said that, but I don't think it's necessarily a sexual touch, too. Just touch as in, like, sitting together on the couch, touching, or, like, laying in bed, cuddling.
I would say the first one.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I feel like you don't... I mean, I know you appreciate it. Like, if I cook dinner or something, like, I know you appreciate it, but you're also, like, don't care if we DoorDash. Like...
Yeah, in that sense. But, like, also, like, laundry, like, today, like, all the laundry was put up, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
You should have said it to me, though,
I know.
You didn't say anything to me.
I'm saying it
That's
now.
my love language.
I'm saying it now. No, really, I really appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so...
Because I know how hard it is to do laundry.
No kidding.
It's like the worst.
It's the worst. So this one says it's more meaningful to me when my partner puts their arm around me when we're in public, or when my partner surprises me with a gift.
I would say gift.
It's more meaningful to me when my partner gives me a gift, or I hear I love you from my partner.
Gift. I'm going to sound superficial. But, I mean, I feel like we say, like, I love you a lot. Not that it's lost its meaning at all, but, like, I feel like that's just, like, a given.
You know, and that's something I really appreciate, because you do tell me that you love me. You tell Scarlett that you love her. Like, we hear it a lot in our household, and I don't think necessarily, like, some people just don't say that. They don't feel comfortable saying that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's weird to me that's not like a given. But yeah, everybody's different.
Yeah.
But I feel like...
But I think there's households, and I mean, our family always said I love you, I think, but I don't know. Like, my mom and I don't say that. When I get off the phone with her, like, I never really say
and
I love you.
It's like, obviously, you know. That's kind of like me and my dad.
Yeah.
It's like, we say it every once in a while. Yeah. But it's like a given.
No, I agree. Like, I've always felt love. We obviously know
we love each other.
Yeah.
But it's like, you don't have to say it for it to be known.
Oh, no, I completely agree. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't always, like, my mom and I don't always say, like, I love you, or, like, my dad and I don't always say that, but the love is obviously there. But what I'm trying to say is,
but I
love that you actually say, I love you. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Apparently, I just like gifts. So.
Apparently, I know. I guess I need to get you more gifts. Yeah. You do get really excited when I get you gifts.
It's true.
Okay, so this one says, it's more meaningful to me when I sit close to my partner or when I'm complimented by my loved. Wait.
When I'm complimented by my loved one for no reason or apparent reason. Definitely the compliment.
The compliment, yeah. It's more meaningful to me when I get the chance to just hang out with my partner or when I unexpectedly get small gifts from my partner.
That one's hard because I like to hang out with you, but I
also like gifts.
Do hang out because like, yeah.
Okay. It's more meaningful to me when I hear my partner tell me I'm proud of you or when my partner helps me with a task.
I'm proud of you, for sure. Man, I'm words of affirmation.
I know. That's what I said.
Totally.
You're going to be stuck between words of affirmation and receiving gifts.
Yeah.
Those are I think they're going to be our top two.
I think you're right.
It's more meaningful to me when I hear praise from my partner or my partner gives me something that shows they were really thinking about me.
Man, that's tough. I like praise.
I know you do. I know you do. It's more meaningful to me when I'm able just to be around my partner or I get a back rub or massage from my partner.
Back rub.
You're just saying that because you want more back rubs?
Yeah, I do.
It's more meaningful to me when my partner reacts positively to something I've accomplished or my partner does something for me that I know they don't particularly enjoy.
No, my mind went in the gutter for that last one, but...
Oh my god, like what?
I'm just...
Are you, what, like blowjobs or something? Is that what you're thinking about? Is that like what you're thinking about?
My mind went to anal.
Anal? Oh my god!
Obviously, gotta cut that out, but like that's where my mind went because it's a joke. It's a joke because you don't do it, but like
I'm not cutting it out.
Yeah, you're not okay. That's fine. I don't care.
That's too much. That's too much. It's more meaningful to me when my partner and I kiss frequently, or I sense my partner is showing interest in things I care about. I
would say the second one. Things interesting thing because sometimes
I'm bad about that.
You are really bad, and I can always tell when you're like, "Yep, yeah," when I'm trying to explain something to you.
But sometimes I'm like doing something, you're trying to like have like a deep convo with me, and I'm like, can we like wait like 10 minutes until I'm done?
Yeah, I need to read the room a little bit better, but that is something.
But I also need to take a second and listen to you a little bit more.
Probably.
Okay, progress.
Yeah,
we're still learning. It's more meaningful to me when my partner works on special projects with me that I have to complete, or my partner gives me an exciting gift.
I'm trying to think of an example of a special project.
When I think of special project, I think of like big partnerships where I need your help. Like that's my special project. Or I think of like house stuff.
Mm-hmm. Exciting gift. I think for me, I think you would be the other one for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's more meaningful to me when I'm complimented by my partner on my appearance, aka hair, or my partner takes the time to listen to me and really understand my feelings.
Maybe appearance, because everybody's self-conscious, you know. You want to be, you want to look good, you know.
It's more meaningful to me when my partner and I share non-sexual touch in public, or my partner offers to run errands for me. Well, I run errands for you no matter what. But
what errands?
Is it meaningful for you?
But like just like going to the store and getting groceries type of, is that what that means?
I guess. Like for me, like I obviously put when you run errands for me, when you're like, hey, like, do you need anything while I'm out? And I'm like, yeah, can you pick up some milk for Scarlett? Mm-hmm. So that is kind of like what it meant to me.
And I'm like, damn, I gotta go back. Yeah. I'm really bad about that. But I do feel like I offer to run errands. Yeah. I mean, like, anytime I'm out, I'm like, do you need anything? And almost all the time you say no. But I'm like, what do you need?
And then the one time I say yes, you're like, oh, really?
That's probably true.
Okay, which one? Non-sexual touch in public or running errands. Which one's more meaningful?
Running errands.
It's more meaningful to me when my partner does a bit more than their normal share of the responsibility we share around the house, work-related. Or I get a gift that I know my partner put thought into choosing.
I feel like yours would for sure be the first one.
Yeah, definitely.
But I would say you do so much already.
Yeah, definitely.
You do. I'll give you credit where credit's due. I would go with the gift.
The gift? Okay.
Yeah.
It's more meaningful to me when my partner doesn't check their phones while they're talking, or my partner goes out of their way to do something that relieves pressure on me.
The check your phone while talking.
Guilty.
I mean, I am too.
Yeah, we're both guilty.
I think we both come a long way on that, though.
Yeah, I've kind of learned that I just can't do it all, and I had a lot of anxiety for a long time around, like, my DMs on Instagram. And trying to get all of them always, like, answered and caught up, because I always just had, like, such a huge appreciation for people reaching out to me. But
it's a good problem to have.
It is, but I've also realized, like, you just can't. It
gets to a point where it's just not feasible.
It was starting to affect, like, well, I mean, not only, like, my time spent, like, I can't sit on my phone that long, but also my mental health at times, because the second you open up a bad message, it ruins your that day.
Yeah, you
honestly. You could have a million,
20, you could have 100 good, and then that one sticks in your brain. It's just human
I hate
nature.
that.
I know.
Yeah, I hate that so much, because
some people are just, that's just the way they are, you know.
But as human, like, that is what we focus on, and I just, I wish it wasn't that way, but in reality it is. But, no, honestly, like, I can't keep up. I cannot keep up. Where did this come from? What were you talking about? Oh, the phone thing.
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. Okay, so this one says it's more meaningful to me when I can look forward to a holiday because of a gift I anticipate receiving, or I hear the words, "I appreciate you," from my partner.
I would say I appreciate you from my partner.
It's more meaningful to me when my partner doesn't interrupt me while talking.
That's it right there.
We've already been called out for that on here in our first episode.
Yeah.
Or gift giving is an important part of a relationship.
First one for sure. Doesn't interrupt me while I'm talking.
It's more meaningful to me when my partner and I embrace after we've been apart for a while, or I hear my partner say how much I mean to them.
I feel like we've never been apart for that long.
Yeah, I'll go back to Kansas. Like,
yeah, but I'm thinking like when I was in the military, I was like different.
Oh yeah, that'd be way different.
I would say how much I mean to them, but also I can't imagine being like apart from you for like as long as I was, like when I was in the military, when I was gone and stuff, especially with Scarlett. Yeah. There's just, I can't even fathom that. I don't know how people do it in the military that have like kids, especially kids.
Yeah, I'm sure it's extremely hard.
Yeah.
Okay, your results are ready.
Very lopsided.
Give a.
Okay, words of affirmation 33%. So that's the top one. Quality time at 23%.
Oh, I was not expecting quality time.
I could see that. We're like completely unplugged, and it's just you and me. Mhm. I feel like that's fair. And then receiving gifts 20%. Physical touch is last. Acts of service is fourth, and then physical touch is last. Wow. So I do have a hard time being like touchy-feely, like cuddly. Mhm. I can't do it.
Yeah, we'll like be cuddling. He'll be like, "Can you move?"
Yeah, it's like, well, imagine like we're laying in bed and your head's on my upper chest and your hair is in my face, and it's like it's just not comfortable. I mean, there's times where like you'll fall asleep on me, and I really do enjoy that.
So here's where this comes into play. So if he would say that to me and I didn't know his love language, I might get offended. But since I know his love language and I know that is something that is not meaningful to him, the touchy-feely, the cuddling, then I know not to get offended because that's not how he loves. And honestly, it's not how I love either. So it's we actually complement each other there. But it's so important to kind of know how somebody wants to be loved so you can know how to love them. So, words of affirmation, it says that actions don't always speak louder than words. If this is your love language, unsolicited compliments mean the world to you. Do you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah.
When I've been like working out or lifting, spend a lot of time in the gym, and I come home and you're like, damn, you look good. You know, just things like that. Or
he likes the compliments.
Yeah, I do.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes the compliments, and I recognize that.
And it's not even just physical stuff. That's just one example, but just like anything. Like,
well, I think back when you were working a lot, like it was important for me to like acknowledge that and tell you how like I appreciate what you're doing for our family and so how did our love languages clash in our first marriage? Because I kind of want to talk about that and talk about like how we weren't recognizing each other's love languages.
I was really bad about acts of service. I was very selfish.
I can't disagree. I felt very like in our first marriage I felt very alone, and I mean obviously I don't feel like that now, but I did.
Yeah, I think we both did.
Yeah. We were both going through our own things, but I felt alone as a new mom and a housewife, and we didn't have any kind of like connection between our love languages. He was loving me in the wrong way, and I didn't know how to love him. Yeah.
And back then I remember doing this, and I was like, I don't know. I cannot figure out what my love language is.
Well,
I was legitimately confused.
I think we even talked about that with our therapist when we were in marriage counseling, and
I just closed off that side of me. I was just like,
you did.
Love's not happening.
You did, yeah. You just thought you were like this oddball that didn't have a love language.
Forever unloved.
No.
No, I knew you loved me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't know I needed you to love me.
And I don't even think you knew how I don't think you knew how you wanted me to love you. Because I don't think you, honestly, like, this is going to get deep, but did you love yourself? Like, where things were at and how our relationship was, and did you feel like, this is getting really deep.
I don't know.
Because I feel like...
I was just in a dark place. I was definitely depressed because I was just working all the time. I didn't really have a whole lot of things to look forward to.
Yeah.
And it was just like slowly chipping away.
Well, I feel like when you're... Oh my gosh. I feel like when you're in a depressive state, it's hard to love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, it's hard to reciprocate love.
Yeah. And on the flip side, not to sound accusational, but I feel like you had unrealistic expectations of what you thought love is in a partner. And I didn't feel like anything I could do could meet your standards.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of times when you're in a new marriage, you picture what that marriage is going to look like, and you picture what your husband's going to look like. Do you feel like your love language do you feel like that's accurate? Do you feel like it's changed over the years? Because I do feel like love language changes depending on growth, like personal growth. And
yeah, I definitely think it's changed quite a bit.
I feel like mine's fairly stayed the same.
Yeah, I feel like we just got to a point where we were just clashing so much, and it got to a point where it's just unsustainable, and that's when it just all kind of fell apart. Like the love language. So how did we,
maybe we should talk this through. How did we actually learn to love each other the way we wanted to be loved? That was probably through our separation is when we started really starting to recognize the things we needed in each other.
It's hard to put in words, but I know we've covered it before. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but just like the perspective for me was huge.
Yeah. That was probably the turning point for us, though.
Yeah. And we had to hit rock bottom. Like, I know we talked about it, ad nauseum, but yeah, I feel like we had to hit rock bottom. And then, because I think for so long we had our one foot out the door, each of us, where it was just like, you think, years into the future, like, this isn't going to work out. Like, I think we just knew, like, deep down that this just isn't going to work out. It's treading in the wrong direction so bad that it just seemed impossible that it would be able to turn around.
And had we known how to love each other a little bit more, or at least put the effort into doing that, maybe things could have been a little bit better. But, ultimately, I think, we needed to do what we needed to do. But
yeah, and I think a big part of it, and obviously we're not therapists, but is like not holding everything against your partner, like accepting some of their flaws. Mm-hmm. And obviously you both have to be on board, but work through, like, don't let the small things just destroy everything.
Yeah, that's like my biggest piece of advice.
It's so much easier said than done, but...
Yeah, that's my biggest piece of advice, though. Like, when people ask me, like, how are you guys... How like, what's different now? Like, what is different between your relationship now compared to what it was prior to the divorce? And one of the main things I say is don't let the little things bother you. Mm-hmm. It's not worth it. I mean, accept each other for who they are. Learn to love them the way they want to be loved. And things will fall into place.
And just because you think you know how you want to be loved doesn't mean that your partner needs that exact same love pattern. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say, but yeah.
Well, and I remember in our first marriage, you would tell me a lot of the times, I can't read your mind, Caitlyn. Like, you got to tell me these things. And I would just expect him to know or expect him to understand how I'm feeling because he is my partner. And I've learned along the way, you can never expect somebody to know how you're feeling. You have to verbally use your words and express your emotions and express your feelings if you want somebody to understand you. And that's something we had to start doing.
On the flip side, when someone tells you what they need or how they're feeling, you have to validate them.
Yes.
And that's something we could all work on.
And we worked on that a lot in counseling and marriage counseling. Mm-hmm. We would literally do exercises where we say your feelings are validated. But we'd be so bad about it because I'd be like, I validate you, but...
This is going to sound bad. We can joke about it now, but we were in therapy one time.
Oh,
and the therapist
gosh, I know what you're talking about.
She looks at me, and we were talking about like our similarities, and she's like, well, Ty, what do you and Caitlyn have in common?
Hold on, she asked me first.
Did she?
She asked me first, and I started listing off all of these things. I'm like, we do this together, we love listening to this, and we love this food. And then
she turns to me and I'm like, I've got nothing. Literally nothing. And the look that Caitlyn gave me,
I'm like, we're doomed.
Yeah.
We're doomed. This marriage is over.
She could have killed me with those looks. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what we have in common.
I'm looking at him and I'm like, didn't we like just go eat the same food? Like, you can't even think of like something so simple.
Yeah, I think I was thinking way too deep.
You overthink everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me at all, but in the moment I was like, wow,
this is so mad.
I took it personally because I'm like, you literally don't think we have anything in common. Like, why are we here today? Like, we moved out to Arizona together. Like, obviously we love where we live. Like, there's so many things that he could have said, and he was just completely silent.
I was checked out.
You were. I mean, that was the point. I was like, well, this isn't going to work.
Yeah. You and me both.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. So yeah, that's our little backstory with the 5 love languages.
And with just to talk about the therapy thing again, I don't really feel like we got much out of therapy. I don't think we were in the right. I'm not saying if you're having issues in your marriage to not go to therapy, because that's like the worst advice ever. But I don't think we were in the right mindset. I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I think at the time you thought you were in the right mindset, but I think you were lying to yourself. Mm-hmm. I don't think we were. I always felt very cornered in therapy because I felt like you thought you had it all figured out, and everything was wrong with me, and you had problems admitting your own faults. And given I had my fair share of flaws, and I still do.
Yeah, you did.
But
okay, it was like 30% me, 70% you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So here's the issue with marriage counseling, and the reason why we didn't get anything out of it, in my opinion, is because we went to marriage counseling as our last option.
Yeah, I feel like it was way too late at that point.
Well, marriage counseling can be a wonderful thing, and I think every couple should be in marriage counseling. I think we should be in marriage counseling, even when we're doing good, because when you go to marriage counseling as the last resort, you're already in a bad place. You kind of just, I don't know, for us at least, I kind of just already felt like it was over, like nothing was going to work. We're already like checked out, and we're trying to work through each other's problems, but we're not actually, I don't know, at least for us, we weren't actually in the right mind space to change the behaviors. Mm-hmm. So I think marriage counseling I think it's a wonderful thing, but I think it shouldn't only be used as a last resort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if we were in counseling right now, we'd probably get a ton out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we're in a great place.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely. Like, I feel like maybe we should do that.
Maybe we should.
Because I feel like we've been in a good place for a minute now. Mm-hmm. And obviously we want that to keep going, and everything's going great. But yeah, I think we would get a lot out of it because there's not so much tension. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was, when we're in therapy together, like treading on pins and needles.
Yeah.
And even when like I would go back just myself to talk to the same therapist, I was always like apprehensive of like, you know, really getting into the details.
Yeah.
Because I felt like it would, I don't know.
They were skewed.
But now that there's no tension, I feel like we could talk through our flaws and maybe even come closer together. I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly think it'd be a wonderful thing. And I wish, I mean, including us, I wish we, you know, couples who are in a good place would mm-hmm. go to counseling. Because I feel like there's such a stigma around marriage counseling. Like, if you're in marriage counseling, then obviously your relationship is not doing well. That's like with the stigma. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it should necessarily be that way because you could get a lot out of it.
I feel like what happens at a lot of relationships, and I think we're fairly sexual. I think we can say that, like, sexual people. Like, yeah. I think there's some people out there that's not as important.
No, I agree. I remember, like, making comments when we were going through, like, our, you know, when we had issues in our marriage or whatever, I'd always say, like, it's never, like, sex has never been the issue. It's never been, like, the physical connection. It's always been the emotional side of it. Mm-hmm. And I think people just immediately think, like, sex has to be emotional, and it doesn't.
Well, I think it is emotional, but
agree.
I think that the problem, and I could be way off base on this, but I feel like the problem with sex and relationships is when things aren't going that good, mm-hmm. then I would say most of the time it's the woman in the relationship typically, but not 100% of the time, that would hold that like
against their significant other.
Yeah, they would withhold sexual.
And I don't think that's intentional though.
I agree because I feel like it is emotional, and
yes.
that's a problem. But I feel like once you start doing that, then it cascades. For me, as like a sexual male, probably more than average.
Tell me about it.
I'm trying to choose my words carefully. But I feel like if, like, we're just wired differently as males, and women and men are more similar than different. Mm-hmm. But I feel like men are wired in such a way that most men need that, like, sexual release. I don't know what else to call it, but mm-hmm. without that, you start to go a little crazy,
but
and then also shut off.
We never had
I know.
Sex, so
no,
I'm
I know.
Kind of like,
yeah, you when we're divorced.
Yeah, stop.
No.
Oh my god.
No, but I just say I think it's worth talking about though. I feel like you shouldn't hold sex against your partner.
I completely agree.
I think yeah.
And I think any marriage counselor will agree with you on that. I think that's one of the worst things you can do because it is such an emotional, intimate. Mm-hmm. It should never be a punishment.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, that's a roundabout way of what I'm trying to get at.
I agree.
I don't think it should.
Yeah, not that. I mean,
this be used as a tool to get at and we've never had that.
I was gonna say this isn't an issue of ours, just to be clear, but I know it is.
Yeah, I know it is for a lot.
Yeah.
Guys I've talked to that are going through hard stuff. That's a big thing.
So if you're listening to this, don't hold sex against your partner ever. Just trust us. Don't do it. Don't do it. Get it on. Oh my gosh. Maybe you'll feel better. Who knows? Yeah. Were you expecting your physical touch to be so low?
Once you explained it in what its actual definition, yeah. Mm. Part of that, I think, was my mom growing up was very, like, smothering with, like, physical touch, like, very, like, I don't know, I always felt like it was over the top, like, hugs and kisses like that, you know. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? I always just kind of cringe, like, it's too much, Mom. You know? And I know that's where it comes from. Like, I can.
Well, your past really affects your relationships and your marriage.
100%.
So
I know that I know that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to get past. But I love my mom. Sense. But it was just like a lot. No? I was like, all right, so that's our love languages.
You have a love language.
I have a love language now. For a long time, I did not know what mine was.
You're not unlovable.
So. Yeah, thanks for listening, diving deep down into my brain. Hopefully it was enjoyable, and hopefully it helps people, you know?
And if you haven't taken the test yourself, again, it's the 5lovelanguages.com. That's what we used. It's the very first thing to pop up on Google, and then the book, The 5 Love Languages, is what I've read and really enjoyed. So go find out your love language. It's a good exercise to sit down and do with your significant other, or even, I mean, you can do it with your children too.
They have an option when you're starting. Yeah. It says like, I'm a parent of a child, or doing this for a child or something.
And for like friendships, it's great to know. It's great to know with any kind of relationship that you're in. Honestly, like if you have like a close friend or something and you want to know like how to better that friendship, you need to know how they want, to be loved as a friend. And so I think it's a really important test. Mm-hmm. And it can tell you a lot about somebody, because we all want to be loved, but we want to be loved the way we want to be loved. And that's different for everybody. Okay, thanks for tuning in, you guys. And we will talk to you next week. We will share all of the IVF news, all of the news from our transfer. We'll be doing like a full episode on that.
Bye.
Bye. Do you want to follow along with us more? We would love that. Follow us over on YouTube and Instagram at The Modern Mom and Dad Podcast to interact with us, ask us questions, and to see behind the scenes. Thanks for listening to the Modern Mom and Dad Podcast, and we will see you next Tuesday.